Hi, this is the walkthrough paper for the foundation paper 3. It is a calculator paper and it's from the June 2023 series. So just after you finish this paper, if there are any topics that you feel like you don't understand and you want to revise, if you leave a comment on my YouTube channel, I can send you recordings on those different topics. I can just send you a link. Right, okay, let's get started with this paper. It's up to you. You might want to do the whole thing and then watch the walkthrough after. You might want to do it question by question. You answer the question and then watch my recording. So what's not a prism here? So a prism, like A is a prism. Why is it a prism? So it's a 3D shape. And if you chop through it, it would have the exact same size shape running through it. If you chop this up, you'd have the cross section would be a square, and it would be a square of exactly the same size running through it. Same for this one, it'd have a rectangle. And for D, it's an octagonal prism. You could chop it from the top and you'd have octagons running through it, so it's B. Although you'd have circles running through that, they'd be circles of different sizes. Right-angled isosceles triangle. This is isosceles because they've got these to indicate those lengths are the same. Equilateral, just a right-angle triangle. So this is a right-angle triangle isosceles because it's got your right angle in it too. Quadrilateral, exactly one side line of symmetry. So I'm going to draw a symmetrical trapezium. Quadrilateral have 4 sides. Your shape has to have 4 sides to it. Sorry, this should have been done with a ruler, but I don't have a ruler function here. Let me just do that a bit better. Just make sure it's symmetrical. So 3 squares on the other side. Each angle is either acute or obtuse. So at the top here, we've got 2 obtuse angles. At the bottom, we have 2 acute angles. So you could have possibly drawn a kite here. That would have also given you the 2 marks. Okay, next question. Got our factors of 6, our factors of 9. So really helping you out with this question here. Number of factors of 6. Well, 6 has 4 factors, so it's greater than the number of factors of 9. The lowest factor of 6 is 1, lowest factor of 9 is 1, so that's going to be equals. Write down the highest common factor of 6 and 9. What's the highest number common to both of these lists? It's 3. Complete the prime factorization. So you might want to work out your prime factors first. 2 numbers that multiply to get 100, 2 times 50. I'm going to circle 2 because that's a prime number. Carry on here. 5 times 10, there's your prime number. 2 times 5. So 100 is 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. Already have 2 and 2, so times 5 times 5. 5 squared would have given you the answer there. Teacher says the cube root of their favourite number is 5. So what's 5 cubed? 5 times 5 times 5 is 125, which means the cube root of 125 is 5, because it's 5 multiplied by itself 3 times. 10 squared is 100. To get a fraction into a percentage, we need to have it out of 100. This is out of 100, so just 29%. Multiply the number of biscuits by 6.25 to find the number of grams of butter needed. I've got the amount of butter, so I need to divide it by 6.25 to work out the number of biscuits. 20. Here I need to work out the cost for the electric car and the cost for the petrol car. For the petrol, 77 pence for each mile. It's 12,000 miles. Use your calculator if you want. 924,000 pence. Let's do the same for the electric car. So you need 68 times 12,000. 816,000 pence. I'm going to subtract these. I want to know how much money he's going to save. So 940,000 subtract 116,000 is 108,000 pence. So you want your answer in pounds here. To divide that by 100 is 1080. On the grid, plot the point A minus 3, 3. AB joins point A to point B, 2, 3. Length of the line, it's a 1 centimetre square grid, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw the line x equals 2. X equals 2 is a straight line where every coordinate along that line is 2. The x coordinate's 2, sorry. So it's a straight line running through, cutting up your x-axis, because x is 2 along all of these points. ABCD is a square that fits on the grid. So I'm thinking a square, all the sides are the same length. So 5 by 5 by 5. So that's the square. C is there because it's on the line x equals 2. Find the coordinates of D, minus 3, minus 3. Oh, no, sorry. Sorry, I thought it was a minus 3. It's minus 3, minus 2. Next question, 3a times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, so it's 12a. B times B times B times B, b to the power 4. C squared times c to the power 4. I'm going to add my powers here, c to the power 6. Factorise. We need a common factor of 9 and 6. So factorise means put back into a bracket. I know it's going to be a single bracket. What's the highest common factor of 9 and 6 is 3. What do you multiply 3 by to get 9? It's 3. What do you multiply 3 by to get 6y? 2y. So you should have 3 bracket 3 minus 2y. Student takes 2 tests. Test 1 scores 45 out of 60. I'm just wondering what that is as a percentage. 45 divided by 60 is 0.75. Times it by 100, 75%. Test 2 is also out of 60. Work out how many marks the student needs in test 2 to have a mean of 70% in both tests. So to get a mean of 70 in both tests, let's just have a look. That would mean that we'd need 140 out of 200%. So I've made it out of 100 because it's 70%. So they've already got 75 marks, 140, 75%, sorry, 45 marks, 75%, because we've scaled it to 100. 140 take away 75 is 65. So they want 65% in the other exam. So how do we make this? How do we need to work out how many marks out of 60? So what is 65% of 60? Change that into a decimal, 0.65 times 60 gives you 39. May have done it a slightly different way compared to me, but hopefully you got the answer 39. Work out the area of this trapezium. Most exam boards do give this formula. Half A plus B, where A and B are parallel sides, times height. So these are the A and the B because they're parallel. So it's half 6 plus 9. Your height is like how tall the shape is, which is 4. So 6 plus 9 is 15. It's half times 15 times 4. Put that straight into your calculator. If you can use your fraction button, if not, use 0.5. Gives you 30 centimetres squared. The circumference of a circle in terms of pi is 100 pi. So you need to know, they probably won't give you this formula. Circumference of a circle you might have as pi d or 2 pi r. So I know pi times d equals 100 pi because the circumference is 100 pi. I'm going to divide both sides by pi. which gives you D equals 100, which is the diameter. The diameter is all the way across the circle through the centre. Use half that to get the radius. So this is the diameter, right? Half of it to get the radius would be 50. My universal set contains numbers 1 to 13. T equals 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. F is 5, 10. Complete the Venn diagram. Okay, what occurs in both T and F is 10, so that goes in the middle. What else is in T? 4, 6, 8, 12. What else is in F is 5. Anything that we've not used goes around the outside. We've got 1 already, so you need 3, 7, 9, 11, and 13. Finley picks one of the 13 elements in the universal set. Write down the probability that the element is a member of both set T and F. What is in T and F? It's this bit in the overlap. So there's one number, so it's 1 out of 13. Sam picks one of the 13 elements in the universal set. The probability the element is set T is 6 over 13. Okay, the probability the element is in set F is 2 out of 13. Therefore, the probability that the element is in set T or set F is 6 over 13. Why is he wrong? Well, he's used 10 twice. He's used 10 here and here. So something, yeah, 10 has been counted twice. And the probability the element is in set T or set F. So we need all of these numbers here. All of these numbers are in set T or F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 13. Simplify this ratio. I can see I've spotted that 6 is a factor of them both. I'm going to divide them both by 6, which gives you 3 to 7. In a bag of sweets, 1/5 of the sweets are green. So that means 1 in every 5 are green. The rest of the sweets are red. So if it's in its simplified form, 1/5 are green, well, 4/5 would be red, right? So out of your 5, you've got 1 green to 4 red. What is N? 4. Factory has a large order for copper pipe. The factory has many machines that make the copper pipe. Each machine makes the same length of copper pipe in a day. 3 machines can make a copper pipe in 25 days. If you were using just one machine, obviously it's going to take longer, isn't it? It's going to spread out that work for one machine. It'd be 25 times 3, 75 days. We want to know for 15 days. So obviously it's going to take less, it's going to take more machines, isn't it? So like the amount of days for one machine is 75. So let's just think about this. What's 75 divided by 15 is 5. I'm going to put divided by 5 here. So it's going to be times 5. So it's going to be 5 machines. Are they similar? So you can see here for this first one, the second triangle, because it has all the same angles, is an enlargement of the first one. So yes, they're similar. If you look at the corresponding sides here, 12 divided by 6 is 2, 6 divided by 3 is 2, 14 divided by 7 is 2. So it's enlarged by a scale factor of 2, yes. Right, 4 times 3 is 12. So the scale factor for these lengths is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. So no, that's not similar. Here it's got one angle that's the same, and 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 2 is 10. So yes, similar. Okay, pie chart. So work out how many of the 540 students travel by car. We know it's 72 degrees out of 360. That's the fraction of students that travel by car. We're going to just multiply that by 540. 108. The number of students who walk to school is 3 times the number of students that cycle. So I'm just going to put 1 to 3 because this is the number of people who cycle is 3 times. No, then we will walk is 3 times the number of people who cycle. Work out the sector angle for the students who walk to school. Right, we just want to know what this angle is. Right, okay, for walk or cycle, they all add up to 360 in a pie chart. So 360, take away 72, take away 72 is 216 degrees. But we need to share this in the ratio 1 to 3 because walk is 3 times cycle. Again, let's look at this in parts. 216 divided by 4 is 54. So 54 in all these boxes. We want to know for walk, so what's 54 times 3? 162. Okay, next question. 2a equals root b, where root b is a positive integer from 8 to 17. Integer means whole number, so I'm just thinking, what are my square numbers between 8 and 17? 3 squared is 9, so 9's a square number. 4 squared is 16, so these are my only square numbers between 8 and 17. Right, square root of 9 is 3, isn't it? Okay. A is a positive integer. Right, so 3, 2 times. Okay, if we did divide a 3 by 2, you get a decimal. So what's the square root of 16 is 4, which you could write as 2 times 2, which means that, let me just write this down. So can you see B is 16 and A is 2? How would your answer to part A change if A was described as an integer? Well, instead of a positive integer, it would not change. Because if you square a negative number, you get a positive number. Okay. We're sharing money. Mia gets half. Sarah gets 2/5. Nina gets 1/7. So if this works out, they should add to get a whole. We can add half and 2/5 together. What a common denominator we add, don't we? Which I'm going to use is 10. 2 times 5 is 10. I'm going to times this by 5, times this by 5, which gives us 5/10. Times this by 2, times this by 2, which gives you 4/10. 5/10 of 4/10 is 9/10, which gives you 9/10, add 1/7. Our common denominator here is 70. I'm going to multiply these to make them into equivalent fractions at 70. Multiply both of those by 7. Multiply these by 10. I get 73 over 70. So will his plan work? No, because greater than 1, something like, yeah, it's greater than 1. I'll give you the other possible answers in a second, but 73 over 70 is greater than 1. Could have had, not equal to 1, something along those lines. Sunday gives Mia and Sarah the fractions of the money that she planned. Mia gets 320. So because Mia gets a half, she gets 320. Let me double 320 to get 640 must be the total amount. Sarah gets 2/5 of that. What's 2/5 of 640? 640 divided by 5 gives you 1/5 is 128. Times it by 2 to get 2/5, which is 256. Okay, make one criticism of Alex's bar charts. So if you spotted here that some of these ages overlap, 5 is in here, this category, and this category, so ages overlap. Write these numbers in order, starting with the smallest. So I'm going to take them out of standard form. 2.4 times 10 squared would be 240 because you're multiplying it by, you can just work this out on your calculator. You can do 2.4 times 10 times 10. 1.3 times 10 cubed, you're multiplying it by 10 3 times. 4.9 times 10 to the minus 1 is like dividing it by 10. Okay, so hopefully you can see the order, smallest. Next one. Next one. And the largest. Work this out, give your answer in standard form. 5 times 10 squared is 500. 4 times 10 cubed is 4,000. Add them together to get 4,500. Convert it into standard form. So the first number needs to be between 1 and 10, which is 4.5. And times 10 cubed, because you go in times 10, 10, 10, would give you this answer. Okay, the number of people watching a football match is 30,000 to nearest 1,000. This is an upper bounds, lower bounds, error interval question. Half of 1,000 is 500. So we add it on to get our upper bound, which they've given you already, 30,500. Take it off to get your lower bound, which would give you 29,500. The number of people watching a rugby match is 30,500, correct to the nearest 100. Show that fewer people could be watching the rugby match than the football match. So here, this is a football match. So for our rugby match, what are the upper bounds and lower bounds? Well, if this is to the nearest 100, half of 100 is 50. So we got our upper bound is 30,550. And our lower bound is 30,450. So we could have this many people watching the rugby match. And we could have, well, just under this, you might have 30,499 watching the football. So I have shown here we could have fewer watching the rugby than the football. Something along those lines. Make K the subject. We need to get K by itself. We add H to both sides first. T plus H equals 2K. Divide both sides by 2. We're going to use these results to work out how many counters are in the bag. So red counter in the bag, sorry. So what's the relative frequency here? 5 out of 9. So we need 5/9 of 150. 150 divided by 9 times 5 gives you 83.3. So I'm going to say 83 red counters. Or you could write 84 would be fine as well. So Ling uses the results to estimate the probability of using a red counter. So we've got 12 out of 20. Simplify that. I'm going to halve both of them first, halve them again. So why are Ling's results are likely to give a better estimate? Well, she's done the experiment more times. So more results. Just going to check what else they have here. Yeah, just more results. Question 20. New cars reduce the value once they have been bought. Zane buys a car for £17,000. Year 1 lost 15%, year 2 10%. According to this table, the value of my car will be £12,750 at the end of year 2. Show that Zane is not correct. Right, so I've got my £17,000. I'm going to reduce it by 15%. What's 15% of 17,000? change this to a decimal, 0.15 times 17,000 is 2,550. I'm going to reduce 17,000 by that amount, so we need to take it off. So 17,000, take away 2,550 means at the end of year one, his car costs 14,450. Now I need to reduce it by 10%. 10% of 14,450 is 0.1 times 14,450, which is 1,445. I need to take that off the 14,450. Gives you 13,005. Which is not this, so we've shown that Zane is not correct. The length of a word is classed as short, medium or long. Percentage, so it's out of 100. So I know 2x plus 5, add 3x minus 1, add x is equal to 100%. I'm going to simplify this. 2x add 3x is 5x. Add another x is 6x. 5 take away 1 is 4. Let me solve this equation to find x. I'm going to take 4 off both sides to get 6x is equal to 96. Divide both sides by 6, which gives you x is 16. But I want x is 16. What do we want? The percentage of word in this which is classed as short. I need to sub this x equals 16 into this formula. 2 times 16 plus 5, 37%. I'm going to have to describe how to do this one. It's kind of difficult to do electronically. So you've got a ruler and a compass. Same distance between A and B. So what you need to do here is open up your compass so it's more than halfway along that line between A and B. Once you've opened it, do not change the length of it. So then you need to draw like a big arc. So you put your compass point in point A and draw a big arc. You then put your compass point in point B and draw another big arc. And where those two arcs meet, that is the line that is an equidistance. Mine's not an equal distance. Yours is going to look a bit more to the left than mine between A and B. Right now, we need the same distance between AB and BC. This is AB, this is BC. So these are lines. So what we need is the angle sector. B's mentioned twice. I need my angle bisector from B. Put your compass in point B, and then you draw an arc. Doesn't matter what length you open up your compass, as long as you don't change it. So I draw a big long arc or a big circle around B. Then put your compass point here where they meet and draw another arc. Put your compass point here, draw another arc, and where they meet, you draw a line. And wherever this line meets your red line is the point where what we're looking for, the boat is. There's your boat. So in 2021, they drove 18% more than 2020. In 2022, they drove 25% more than 2020. I'll just summarize this here. Kai says, I work out how many kilometers were driven in 2020 by reducing 35,000 by 25%. Right, if you had 100 and you increased it by 10%, you get 110, right? If you then took your answer and decreased it by 10%, well, 10% is 11, take it off as 9, you don't get the same answer here because you've got like more, you've got more of an amount. So you cannot do it by reducing it by 25%. What I would do is divide it by the multiplier. So we know X, if you increase something by 25%, you've got 125%. Change that into a decimal is 1.25. So reverse it, divide both sides by 1.25. You get 2,800. So explain why he's not correct. He's not divided by 1.25. So I've shown here that actually in 2020, he's travelled 2,800 kilometres. So what would it be in 2021? Well, we need to increase this by 18%. You could find 18% and add it on. I'm going to do it using multipliers. If you increase it by 18%, you're finding 118%. Change it to a decimal, 1.18. 2,800 times 1.18 is 3,304. They show that k equals 3. So this curve here is this quadratic graph. We need to find a coordinate point on our quadratic graph. I'm going to choose this 1 from 1. So we know 1, 4, the coordinate point 1, 4 lies on your line. That's your x value, that's your y value. Because I know the x and y value, I can sub it into this equation over here. Y is 4, x is 1, so 1 times k is k. Oh, minus 1 squared. My x value is 1, so 1 squared is 1, right? Plus 2. I'm going to take 2 off both sides, add 1 to both sides, which shows that k is 3. Use a graph to solve that equation. Well, when it's equal to 3, so we need a line here across 3. I want to know when this graph is equal to 3, which gives one answer here, 0.4. Just check your scale, right? It's going up in 0.1s, isn't it? And here would give you, 2.6. Okay, last question. This has got a rotational symmetry of order 60, so it means it fits around a point which is 360 degrees, a full turn 60 times. 360 divided by 60 is 6. So I know this little angle here is 6, which is this little angle here. And I've spotted a right angle triangle, so I know it's SOHCAHTOA. Let me bring my right angle triangle out. This angle's 6. The whole of B is 40, half of 40 is 20. And I want to know my height, I'm going to call that X. This is opposite my angle O. This is the adjacent. Tan X, tan 6, tan theta. So your formula for tan, you may have done it with a little triangle. I'll do both ways. Tan theta equals O over A. But you might have been taught using your tan triangle. I'll show you both ways. So tan 6, O goes at the top, which is X, 20 goes on the bottom. Or I could substitute it into my formula. Tan 6 equals X over 20, times both sides by 20. Or if you're going to use your triangle, because you're both things that you know are at the bottom are next to each other, you times them. 20 times tan 6, is 2.1 to 1 decimal place. Okay, hopefully you found that useful.